Page 35, Funny Little Bunny. At the top of the page, they're introducing you to a new musical term that you need to be familiar with. It's DC al fine. It's not fine, it's fine, it's Italian. DC is short for da capo. Doesn't matter what it's short for. I just say DC because I'm lazy and I can't speak Italian with a hoot. It means go back to the beginning. DC means go back to the beginning of the piece and start there again. Play it again. Al fine means go to fine. Fine is the end. So it's telling you to go to the end. Well, you got to know where the end is. So if you look at the bottom of the piece, above the staff, you see the DC al fine. Well, that tells you to go back to the top and start playing it again. Well, now you go to fine, and fine is at the end of the second line. You see above the staff the fine, and that right there where that double bar is, that should be a thin and thick bar line there, because that's where the piece ends. You see, a piece doesn't always end at the bottom, and the double bars at the bottom are fine. There's nothing wrong with those. But the double bars at the end of the second line should be a thin and thick bar line. So just take a pencil and widen out the second bar line. So this piece is actually 6 lines long, because you're going to go through all 4 lines, then you go back to the beginning and do the first 2 lines again. So it's 6 lines long. They could have just printed out the whole thing in 6 lines, but this is the way they save in space and printing and all that. And a lot of DC al fines, I mean, it could be, you could be pages into it and get a DC al fine where you got to go all the way back to the beginning. Doesn't happen very often, but the point is, you could be a lot further away from the beginning than 4 lines. It could be, doesn't matter. So let's look this over. I'll go through my routine for learning a piece of music. I go through the same routine all the time. And as we get learning more musical terms and symbols, we'll add to the routine. I'm not going to add to it until we get there. So we looked it over. We see it's 4 lines long with the DC makes it 6 lines long. Treble and bass clef, 1 flat in the key signature. We're in the key of F major. And we got 4/4 time signatures. Okay, there's quarter notes, whole notes, and half notes. I don't see any eighth notes anywhere. I want to take it one hand at a time to make sure I understand what each hand is doing. Right hand starts on middle C here, so I'm here. So it's quarter notes. And then the half notes. Now I got to reach up here. A, just reach up. The thumb stays where it is up here. And I'm staying, the thumb stays here. So I just went from here to here again. That's all we did, that's fine. Because in the next line, the thumb's still on C. And then I come back down. So I'm coming back and forth here. Now you'll notice the second line, you have the same thing as the first line where you gotta come up here. They don't give you any finger numbers for the second line, even though you have to move. And the idea of that is in music, once they give a finger number for a passage or for a way you do something, if you get that same thing again later on, they don't give you the finger numbers anymore. It's up to you to remember the fingers that you used before, and you use the same fingers. So on the second line, when we're doing that, we got to remember what fingers we used on the first line when we did it, and that's what we do. So they're not going to give you finger numbers all the time. In the third line, about all that you're doing. The last 2 lines all you're doing is C and G in the right hand, because the left hand is going to play those whole notes. Speaking of left hand, well, you're starting with second finger on B flat. Remember, it's in the key signature. All B's are flat. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, this is fun. We're doing this all the time. That's about all we're doing for the first 2 lines. And then in the third line, second measure. Okay, and then for the whole note, you see the LH, that's left hand. You're going to come over here and play the C. Play with any finger you want. It doesn't matter which finger you use. They suggest 2, that's fine. Sometimes I'll use 3. Sometimes I'll use thumb. You have to be careful. The thumb is a short finger, so you usually use one of these other fingers so you don't reach as far, but sometimes the thumb comes in handy, like in that one piece we did where I was crossing over the right hand. But here, whichever finger, and then you got plenty of time to move here because the right hand is playing. So you got like 4 beats to move up there and 4 beats to move back. So there's no hurry. Just make sure your left hand is where it needs to go before you need it there. Always have it in place before you need to play if possible. So before it wasn't possible. We had to move and play immediately. Now we got plenty of time to move and get ready and then play here. Now when you get to the end at the bottom, you're here and you do the D, C Alfine. You got to go here. Now you got a problem. There's no rest. There's no time to get from here to here. So I got a plan for that. I got to be ready for it. So maybe on that last C, I'll use thumb just so I can be a little closer. Don't have to. I can go. It's just if I use thumb, my hand is down a little closer. If I use one of these other fingers, the hand is further away because I got to go to here. So, I mean, I could even use a little finger on it. I don't recommend it because you got an A coming up. I could use 4th finger when I go back. If I use thumb, I could go 4th finger. I'm not moving as far. Have I lost you yet? I'm on the last measure at the bottom here. And then I'm doing the DC to go back to the beginning. I got to play this note. So I can go here to 4. Now I'm in position. I can play these notes here. Because I got to get it out of the way because the right hand is here. Which finger you use, I'll leave that up to you. Pick some fingers and stick with it. You can use the fingering in the book if you want to go here. But the rhythm has to be a steady rhythm. Let's put the hands together. You're here. With the idea, let's go down to the 3rd line. We're here. Left hand's already up there. And then as I'm playing the next measure, I'll bring it back. But when I get to the end, and I'm here, and I go back to the beginning, the left hand's got to go down there, get ready, together. So you may have to practice that. Of course, you have to look down at the keyboard when you're moving around like this. But otherwise, you shouldn't need to move. Like in the first line when I'm just going from here to here, you want to get to where you don't have to look at the keyboard for that. Then once you have an idea what the hands are doing and you go through and get rid of the hesitations, then I think about the interpretation. The natural accents, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3rd line. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm exaggerating them so you can hear them better, but you really just want to feel these. 1, 2, 3. Let the wrist collapse a little bit on them. Then we can think about the phrasing. Well, it looks like every 4 measures is a phrase, sort of. So I can play every 4 measures together. Lift up, like taking a breath. But in the 3rd line, I think I would not follow the commas here. I think I would go ahead and leave it at every 4 measures. Lift up at the end of the line. And that helps us then on the DC, because when we lift up for the phrase, that gives us a little more time to get our hand down here. So the last 2 measures is Gabon. See, lift up for that. That gives you a little more time to move. That helps. And the melody, bring out the melody. Well, the first 2 lines, it's the right hand. The left hand's going to be very light. And the last 2 lines, it's both hands. For melody, they're the same. So. Now you'll notice in the second line there is a comma in the middle of that. I don't think I would break a phrase there, because if you listen to it, that doesn't make any musical sense to me at all. You're just breaking it. So I think I would ignore that comma as far as the phrasing goes and just go ahead and connect that second line all the way through. Let's play this together very slowly and check all the notes in the rhythm. So I'm going to play both hands about the same, and we will do the DC all fine bit. So I'll give us 4 counts. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 to the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Off.